Hey Star Trek fans, welcome back to Kertrats Productions and this week's Star Trek News Update. We have a couple of news stories and a ton of new releases this week, so let's get right into it.
You're the captain of the most important space station in the entire Federation. You're news.
The Hugo Awards are given out annually for the best science fiction and fantasy writing, and while Star Trek has been nominated many times over the years, the wins have been few and far between, with the last one being awarded way back in 1994, which, if you can believe it, was over 30 years ago. This award was for the Star Trek The Next Generation series finale, All Good Things. Well, thanks to Star Trek Lower Decks, we can now add 2 more to the win column for the Star Trek franchise. On August 16th, the awards were held, with a pair of big wins for Lower Decks. The series finale, The New Next Generation, won this year's Hugo for Best Dramatic Presentation, short form, with the competition coming from some big names, including Fallout, Agatha All Along, and Doctor Who. Congratulations to Mike McMahon and the rest of the Lower Decks team on this huge win. However, that wasn't the only Hugo that Lower Decks took home. The award for Best Graphic Story or Comic was claimed by the innovative graphic novel Star Trek Lower Decks Warp Your Own Way by writer Ryan North, with art by Chris Finoglio. If you haven't checked out this choose your own adventure style graphic novel, you really owe it to yourself to do so. It is very excellent. Congratulations to everyone involved in both of these wins, they are very well deserved. The New York Comic Con is scheduled for October 9th to 12th in New York, and we've just gotten details about Star Trek's presence at the event. On Saturday, October 11th, the Star Trek Universe panel will be held on the Empire stage from 3:15 to 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Here's the official description from the event organizers. The fan-favorite Star Trek Universe panel returns to New York Comic Con, featuring exclusive sneak peeks and conversations with cast members and producers from the Paramount Plus original Star Trek Strange New Worlds and the upcoming new series Star Trek Starfleet Academy, plus more exciting reveals and surprises for fans in attendance that you won't want to miss. The updates on Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy are, of course, expected. Strange New Worlds will have finished airing its 3rd season by then, with the 4th coming next year. The 5th and final season should be shooting by then, so there is the potential for some more information about the final 2 seasons at the panel. Starfleet Academy won't yet have aired, with its 1st season scheduled for early next year. It will, however, be partway through filming Season 2 by that point, so it's possible we'll get a few more hints and reveals about Star Trek's newest series as well. The quote, more exciting reveals and surprises is definitely vague, but promises possible surprise announcements. The timing of this is particularly interesting given the recent completion of the purchase of Paramount by Skydance and their promise of a recommitment to Star Trek and establishing it as a priority for the company. Is October too soon to see that particular promise bear fruit? I guess we'll see. I'll definitely be keeping my ear to the ground that weekend for any big news and announcements to come out of New York Comic Con, and I promise to report any news here as well.
I never really cared for science fiction. I guess I just didn't get it.
There are more than a few Star Trek releases this week. Tuesday saw the release of the newest graphic novel Omnibus from IDW, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Omnibus Volume 1. Here's the back cover blurb from IDW. Explore never-before-seen adventures of the hit Paramount Plus show in this graphic novel omnibus. First, in the Illyrian Enigma set between seasons 1 and 2, Una is accused of unlawful genetic modification by Starfleet, and Captain Pike sets out in search of evidence that could prove her innocence. But when Captain Pike and the crew of the Enterprise get caught in the Prylia colony, home to the elusive Illyrians, the mission objective quickly shifts from gathering evidence to exonerate Una to breaking out. Then, in the Scorpius run, set course with Captain Pike and the crew of the U.S.S. Enterprise to the Scorpius constellation as they become the first Federation vessel to explore this uncharted region of space. In this romp across the stars, the Enterprise crew learn what it truly means to explore the strange and unfamiliar when they lose contact with Starfleet and everything outside the region. After entering a crime lord's starship competition to save an innocent pilot, the Enterprise jets through a gauntlet of dangerous environments in the unexplored Scorpius sector. But cosmic storms and sentient ship-eating asteroids aren't the only obstacles the crew will have to overcome. collects Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The Illyrian Enigma by Kirsten Beyer, Mike Johnson, and Megan Levins, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The Scorpius Run by Mike Johnson, Ryan Parrott, and Angel Hernandez, 2 short stories, Yesterday's Shadow from Star Trek No. 500 by Jody Hauser and Vernon Smith, and Facemaker from Star Trek Celebrations by Mags Visaggio and Tench. Also out on Tuesday were 4 new 2026 wall calendars from the Star Trek universe. A Star Trek The Original Series wall calendar, one for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the annual Ships of the Line landscape format calendar, which I personally make a point to get each year, and finally the Cats of the U.S.S. Enterprise calendar, featuring iconic Trek scenes reenacted by felines as depicted by illustrator Jay Parks. I'll have links for all 4 calendars as well as the Strange New Worlds Omnibus in the video description. On Thursday, Agoro, the collectible arm of the New Zealand Mint, releases their latest Star Trek silver coin, Star Trek Ships Klingon Bird of Prey 3-ounce coin, made of 99.9% pure silver. It has a face value of 5 New Zealand dollars and bears the seal of Niue, showing it to be legal tender, and a mintage of just 500. I'll have a link to their website in the description if you'd like to take a look. And finally, Thursday sees the release of Episode 7 of Season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. What is Starfleet is written by Kathryn Lynn and Alan B. McElroy and directed by Sharon Lewis. Tune into the Positively Trek podcast this Friday for our review of the episode, and join us here on the channel on Saturday for a live discussion of the episode. We go live at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we'd love for you to join us. And that's it for this week's Star Trek News Desk update. Thank you for watching this week, and thank you so much, of course, to our Patreon supporters. I could not do this without your support. Please keep an eye on this channel for coverage of this week's Strange New Worlds episode and further Star Trek news and releases. I've been Dan Gunther, thanks again for watching, and as always, be sure to live long and prosper.